Whether you call Maine home or you're visiting vacation land, when it comes to finding the best lobster roll to satisfy a seafood craving or a yoga class to find your zen, chances are you'll pull up Yelp. Hello everyone, I'm Lindsay Mills.
And I'm Chris Costa. If you're a so-called Yelper, take the reviews with a grain of salt. The popular website admits a quarter of the reviews you read are not even real, and that can hurt businesses, as Marie Savidra reports from our sister station in Texas.
There's a good chance you are one of the 70 million plus people using Yelp.
Welcome. Thank you all for coming and supporting today.
It's how a lot of people find Garland's Shakti Yoga Center.
We have at least 1 to 5 clicks every day of people going and check our profile on Yelp.
Though owner Patricia Alonso wishes it wasn't.
For a small business like me, it might not seem like a lot, but it represents a big deal.
She is tired of customers relying on a handful of reviews when deciding to take a class. And here's why. Alonso said this month she was on the losing end of a bad business deal, and the other side got their revenge in the comments.
The people who posted, I have never met them.
Posts only meant to hurt. Now, on the other side of the coin, you could experience a flood of positive posts made by friends defending a business owner. So what can you trust when you're reading reviews? Yelp says it's helping by isolating posts that are not recommended. That's about 25% of comments made on the site, including biased reviews from competitors, fake reviews claiming to be several people but are done by just one, and unhelpful rants. The company is also listening when owners like Alonso call to report a rash of negative reviews. In her case, Yelp agreed they violated policy and took action.
When Yelp takes 5 to 7 business days to review and to finally take it down. But you know, it's a week of people checking and saying, well, maybe I shouldn't go there.
Still, she wonders what customers she might have lost that week. And that's why she's begging Yelpers to use more than that site when searching for a new spot.
So we want to know, when you're looking for a new dinner spot or fitness class to burn some calories, do you make a decision based on the online reviews you read on Yelp or anywhere else?
You can log on to pulse.newscentermaine.com to weigh in on our poll, or you can find the tab on our mobile app. You can also comment on our YouTube and Facebook live streams to let us know what you think, and tell us if you have a different approach to check out business reviews.
All right, if you were on Route 1 in the Newcastle area today, you may have smelled something a little fishy.
Yeah, it happened in the area of Newcastle near Chrysler and Mike's Place. According to Lincoln County Emergency Management, traffic was slow moving for some time. As you can see, a truck that spilled some fish.
It was probably quite the cleanup. A transgender activism group, Lobsters Against Transphobia, is promoting the use of Maine's lobster emoji while it rallies for an emoji to represent the transgender community.
The Portland Press Herald reports the group is urging supporters to use the lobster, which can display both male and female anatomy, as they petition online for a trans pride flag emoji of their own.
Equality Maine says it hadn't previously heard of the campaign. Important news for anyone with life-threatening allergies. The Food and Drug Administration has approved the first generic competitor to EpiPen.
Mylan, the company that sells the EpiPen, drew intense criticism a few years ago when it increased the price of an EpiPen twin pack to $600. They're now offering their own generic version for about half that price.
And a new generic version of the drug from Teva Pharmaceuticals could drive the prices down even more. And those that have been looking for a break from the price hikes are saying this is long overdue. All right, the sun and the high temperatures, hot, but don't hold your breath.
Nope, Keith Carson is here to share some news that rain may be in the mix.
Well, if you're going to say it like that, Coco, then yeah, it's going to sound really bad. I mean, it's not that big a deal, just a couple of showers. But right now, beautiful, high temperature, 85 in Portland, 84 in Wiscasset, obviously warmer along the coastline than it was in the mountains on the west-northwest flow. Dew points hung out today longer than I would have thought. It's starting to dry out nicely, but man, the dew points were in the upper 60s and low 70s through much of the day here along the coastline in particular and into the interior. So it's a little bit more humid than I would have thought, but it clears out tonight and it gets actually crisp later on this evening under clear skies. I like how tonight's going to look. We're going to have a couple of nights, one of them is tonight and into next week as well, that might scare you if you love summer, because they'll be like that fall feeling even though it's still August. So, you know, it's exciting to some, not to everyone. A couple of showers tried to work through, they dried out. Temperatures dropping tonight into the 50s and even some 40s possible across far northern Maine here by tomorrow morning. Look at Caribou at 48 degrees. That's what I'm talking about, where it feels quite fallish. Tomorrow we start with a lot of sunshine. Clouds increase during the afternoon. Showers come in, but hold off till about 5, 6 o'clock at the earliest. And over the middle part of the state, probably 7, 8 o'clock, and down east, not until 9 or 10 o'clock. Those showers and storms continue overnight. And guys, Saturday's still a bit of a tricky forecast. We'll talk a little bit more about that and some interesting statistics for you about how humid it's been and how it continues to be humid and it's still uncomfortable and all of that. Yeah.
All week we've been talking about the current controversy surrounding illegal immigration and keeping our nation's borders secure.
While Border Patrol plays a huge role in that, there's another group doing its part and receiving just as much criticism: Customs. Samantha York has our final chapter for our Beyond the Border series.
Hey guys, well, many people have spoken out about feeling targeted when passing through customs at our southern border. But here in Maine up north, those that we spoke to say their complaints are more about the wait to get through than any chance of being searched. If you want to get into the United States legally, you have to start here, at Customs. At the port of entry in Calais, you might run into this guy.
I'm the port director with Customs and Border Protection, Office of Field Operations here in Calais, Maine.
Corey McPhee comes from a long line of U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents. He's the 4th generation in his family to serve and the 3rd to take on the title of director in Calais.
Knowing that I was being able to carry on a 4th generation tradition, it really hit home for me. It's definitely personal.
Though the family name has remained the same, job duties at the port have changed drastically since McPhee started 18 years ago. In fact, in that time, the port, one of 18 in the state, has gone from 1.4 million personal vehicles crossing in 2000 to just 739,000 last year. That's a 47% decrease. McPhee says the turning point was the terror attacks of 9/11.
It's very important for us to know who's coming and going from the United States. All you have to do is look around the events in the world in this day and age, and you can understand why counterterrorism is our #1 priority.
But that priority has come with a cost, a perception that officials are targeting minorities, something McPhee says is not true.
It doesn't matter what your nationality is, what your ethnic background is, you know what I mean? Our checks are all the same. Our computer systems don't key up on ethnicities or races or anything like that.
This greater perception isn't just impacting McPhee and his agents at the port of entry, but all of U.S. Customs and Border Protection agencies. That searching and line of questioning has put the whole department under scrutiny by lawmakers and civil rights groups across the nation. More specifically, the ACLU.
They abuse the authority that they have. So it's important to protect our rights and protect our privacy, and that's true in Maine and across the country.
Reports of heightened security and unlawful searches and arrests prompted the civil rights organization to probe the department for answers, to which the department replied their practices are nothing new, but refused to provide any data or documents to back their claims.
Mainers do not want to live in a show-me-your-paper society where there are armed law enforcement guards asking questions without a warrant. It's important to protect our rights and protect our privacy, and that's true in Maine and across the country.
Back in Calais, McPhee says guidelines for crossing the border have become more strict, but the practices haven't changed.
It's been a little difficult for maybe the traveling public to get accustomed to having to have certain documents, their passports or Nexus trusted traveler cards, things like that, to enter the U.S. Probably doing a little bit more searching of vehicles and asking more different line of questioning maybe. As far as the immigration laws are concerned, the laws are the laws. They haven't changed at all since I started 18 years ago.
He says despite the constant criticism, when forced to choose between someone's privacy and the security of the nation's border, the choice will always be protecting our country.
So
as we mentioned before, this wraps up Zach Blanchard's and my series with Border Patrol. If you missed any of the stories or want to learn even more, just head to our website or mobile app. Guys, back to you.
All right, Sam. Yeah, thanks so much. Okay, still ahead, a woman from Kennebunkport needs our help. She's missing her dog and is counting on Mainers to help find him. We'll explain this unique story.
Plus, sometimes we don't understand or we don't truly appreciate something until we lose it. Following Aretha Franklin's passing, her soul fans are now chasing the albums that made her great.
Hello, everybody. Madonna says, Madonna, first of all, is that your real name? Madonna says, bring on the crisp. I know, I'm looking forward to the chillier air too. Yep. So, hello everybody. We got Pam, we got Tanya, we got Judy, we have Rich, we have Paul, Fred, Marcus, Abby. Sam, Robert enjoyed your Border Patrol stories.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
Yeah. So I don't know, what do you guys think? When you're reading reviews, whether it's on Yelp or somewhere else, do you take those into account when you go find a place to eat or find a workout class to join or sign up for? I know, like, I'll usually do my due diligence and I use Google and then I'll read whatever reviews are there. I know when I'm like shopping online, I definitely pay very close attention to reviews because I don't want to have to return something. I want to make sure it fits, especially if I'm not trying it on. I'm going to take others' word for it. Liam, bless you. Yes. Yes. Do you have an estimated runtime, Coco?
Yeah, 1:45.
1:45, Chels. Yep. And we have 1 minute, Coco.
Great.
Sweet. Okay, let's take a walk. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna go over here with our beautiful picture of Aretha Franklin. Rest in peace. Liam, how excited are you to hit the links?
Liam, come on. What does that say? Nothing. We're just trolling you again. So what you? I'm not trolling. All right. Well, it's going as fast as it can. It's 11.
So.
We needed to measure something.
All right, Coco, we're close.
The Queen of Soul has passed away. As you've probably heard by now, Aretha Franklin died this morning at her home in Detroit after a battle with pancreatic cancer and a number of other health issues.
Yeah, you guys are all talking about this today. People from all over the world even have taken to Twitter to share their sadness, particularly artists that found their voice by listening to hers.
Over her 50-plus year career, Franklin recorded more albums and more memorable songs than just about anybody. Those memorable songs are now becoming a bit of a collector's item, and record store owners say it's a recurring trend.
Much respect and much love and many thanks to the Queen, Aretha Franklin, WBLM. It's sad, but at the same time, it's great to be on the radio because you just start playing music, and I think people come to you for that.
Plains radio stations paying tribute to the Queen of Soul, the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
18 Grammys, 20 #1 hits, and then beyond the numbers, how she broke down barriers.
Aretha Franklin is known as much for her hit music as her social activism.
Okay, she's singing about a relationship, but there's a political subtext under that about respect. She's also singing as an African-American woman. She's also singing as a woman. She's singing, there's something deeper going on there.
For me, it makes me think of a really chaotic time.
Bob owns Enterprise Records.
You know, Lady Gaga and stuff. I don't want that stuff anyway.
His unique collection rarely holds an Aretha Franklin record for long.
Here you go.
He just sold his last one. He says interest in records spikes any time a famous artist passes away.
So there's that. You want a bag? Where have you been? All these records have always been good. It takes this for you to appreciate the music. But I just think it's kind of a sad comment that, oh man, I gotta have those records now.
Whether to fill their sense of loss or to show a sign of respect, people are playing Franklin's music that many say will transcend time.
This isn't black music or white music, it's great music.
So Bob Ludwig of Gateway Mastering Studios in Portland, who has earned Grammys for his work with some of the nation's most well-known recording artists, said in a statement, "Aretha is one of those artists I always deeply admired but never got to work with. I can't tell you how many times I have listened to Aretha's version of Otis Redding's Respect, trying to dissect all of the nuances of what makes those songs so amazing and unbeatable. She was without question one of the greatest singers of all time." And on our website right now, you can find a list of the most searched songs by Aretha Franklin, and the radio station 102.9 WBLM has a list of her most famous covers on their Facebook page.
And I challenge you at home, on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're watching, to try to stand still or sit still while you're listening to her music. Yeah. It's challenging. I was just sitting here bobbing back and forth during your story, and I mean, her music is just, it's legendary.
The captain was really letting it go. He was just letting it ride in the studio there, and we were all kind of just
jamming,
bobbing our head. Yeah,
that's awesome. Okay, let's take a look real quick. Speaking of Facebook and YouTube, our Pulse results right now. Do you take online reviews into account when you go to a new restaurant or a new business for the first time? 68% of you say yes, for sure. So there we go.
All right. When we come back, Keith Carson has a look at the full forecast. Ow.
Sticky does not have the same ring to it as Respect does, but I like where you're going. All right, everybody.
Okay. Did we switch back yet?
What's that?
Did we switch back yet?
To
our tablets?
Oh, yeah, no, it's fine.
Did you get the ENPS to work?
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh. Can you scroll all the way to the rest of the script? Because that was my issue. I couldn't scroll past that.
Well, yeah, I can't. For some reason, the rundown's frozen.
Right, and that's an issue. So you take this one.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's fine. So Madonna says it's her real name, and she was named after her grandmother. We have a viewer watching right now named Madonna, and I asked her if that was her real name.
Oh, cool.
And she's named after her grandmother.
Oh, wow, that's incredible.
So yeah, if you guys follow Sully, Bush 41's dog on Instagram today, you saw he had a new post, and we're going to talk about that when we come back from the break. I know, it made my day. So yeah.
Wow, that was
close. Do you want to explain for our Facebook and YouTubers, because they are supposed to see the behind the scenes, right?
Yeah. All right, guys. Long story short is, I love Lee Goldberg to death. I don't know how he does this every day to turn some type of story and then anchor the show, because going out, traveling, shooting,
he just sits on
interviewing.
His phone when he gets home, though. He doesn't do anything.
What's that?
When he gets home, he has nothing to do, though.
Oh yeah, you know, whatever.
So that helps a lot.
But going out, shooting the story, interviewing people, getting back, writing the story, editing all the video that goes with it, and then sitting here and like reading it through. You know, when someone can't interview with you until noon or whatever the case may be, and we have a 5 o'clock deadline, and we have other stuff that needs to get up before that, it's just, it's tight. So anyway, so it was a little slow getting that on the air, but we made it happen. And Bill nailed it to give us some breathing room to get that on the air.
For sure, it's hard. I will say, having to do it every single day, you get into,
how do you do it?
You get into it's like muscle memory almost. Like, I know, it's almost like your body clock, right? You know when like you're hungry, you got to eat, right? Like, I know
what
certain,
are you talking about?
in terms of timing, like I know when I got to like move on to the next thing. All right, who knew man's best friend could also be man's fashion inspiration? Not just any man. He's former President George H.W. Bush, sporting a new pair of socks with none other than his Labrador, Sully, on him.
Now, if you follow Sully H.W. Bush on Instagram, you saw the post of 41 wearing his socks this morning, and Sully clearly approves. Earlier this summer, a Bush family aide made the announcement that Sully was the newest member of the family, just in time for spending the summer at Walker's Point. And speaking of dogs, you can imagine if you're away for a year and the day you return home to go pick up your dog, he runs away.
Erin Campbell of Kennebunkport has spent the last year with her husband and children working and studying in Chile. Someone living in their home has been taking care of the family's Great Pyrenees named Guapa.
And a rare twist of bad luck, the day Campbell arrived home was the same day her pet of 9 years was lost from a groomer in Kennebunk. Nearly home, she got the call that Guapa had run away. Her pup went missing on July 20th, and Campbell believes she's trying to find her way home. For 3 weeks, Campbell hiked more than 100 miles in Kennebunk and Wells, searching for signs of her dog.
And Campbell spotted tracks of the Blueberry Plains of Kennebunk and on the Wells Barren Preserve near where she was spotted. She left food and clothes out for Guapa, hoping to find her, but no luck. And so finally, she extended her trip to search every day for her dog, and she had to return to her family in Chile. So she now says she's relying on the help of Mainers to find her beloved pet that she believes is just trying to make her way home. Guapa has a thick tan coat and dark eyes. She's wearing tags. If you spot the dog, you are asked not to chase it, but to call or text the Campbells. You can find their information on our website. I'm really hoping this ending is kind of like the movie Homeward Bound, one of my all-time faves.
Except they're getting a little bit of help from the news media to spread the word.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know. I was hoping they were going to find this dog. I thought that was the end of the story.
No,
you just left me hanging.
Hope.
Sorry.
Let's hope.
So you can imagine what it'd be like, though. You know,
right.
You've got Reese's. You know.
Yeah. He's not much of a runner, but yeah, it would.
He's feisty.
Oh yeah.
He can put
He's
up
a Dachshund. Dachshunds are jerks usually. You know, in general, as a breed, they're one of the bitier breeds out there, but they're low, so nobody cares. All right, visible satellite. Beautiful today. We had a couple of cumulus clouds out there that looked threatening. Never really turned into anything though. Nothing showed up on the radar, nothing really showed up on the ground, so it ended up dry, even though we did have some of those clouds popping up. Temperatures did pretty well, overachieved in spots. Water temperature 69, keep that in your head. I want to show you a graphic in a second to put that in context. 84 in Portland, 79 in Augusta. Nice end to the day, nice night tonight as well. Dew points really hung tough for a while. Through the middle of the day, the dew points were still in the upper 60s. And finally, now we're getting that drier air in statewide. And tonight will be almost crisp. So that'll be nice. But we had this morning another day of a dew point 70 or above. So we're up to number 3 spot. And again, as I said yesterday, we're going to get there. We'll need 2 more days to tie the most humid summer since the late 40s at least. So that's awesome. But I think it'll happen probably not next week, the week after that, it's best chance. Hour by hour forecast showing you clear skies tonight, temperatures dropping into the 50s and again some 40s across northern Maine. Tomorrow starts with sunshine. Ends, though, with clouds increasing in the afternoon and then showers moving in 5, 6 o'clock, 7, 8 across the central part of the state, and then 9 or 10 over down East Maine. Thunderstorms overnight. Saturday's still a slippery day. It starts with showers. I think the middle part of the day is pretty decent, and then some thunderstorms pop up Saturday afternoon. So it's not going to be a terrible day, but it's just a hard one to nail down. And then Sunday looks good, partly cloudy conditions. All right, here's what I wanted to show you in the Gulf of Maine. We are running plus 3 degrees Celsius for an anomaly. That is gigantic. And we're not alone. Take a look at this. If I zoom out across the Atlantic, we're on fire. This is a very, very warm sea surface temperature anomaly. I'm working with the Gulf of Maine Research Institute. They're putting this in context historically, but it looks to be one of the warmest anomalies we've had in the Gulf on record. So it all goes together, right, guys? Very, very humid, very, very warm, and the Gulf reacts to that. In the meantime, decent pattern next week. We will have a couple days, as I mentioned, overnights that trick you a little bit into thinking fall is coming, which does happen in August. We rebound, we always do, and often we have hot days in September too. It's just one of those reminders that the season can be kind of short around here.
It can be.
Surfers and swimmers happy about that.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know, it's kind of one of those things where, like, as tourists and enjoying is good, the long-term ramifications aren't as great. But that's what the Gulf of Maine Research Institute, that's what they devote themselves to. So we'll have more on that. A couple of weeks they're working on that report still.
Gotcha.
Oh, awesome! Can't wait.
Question for you during the commercial break, so make sure you tune in on Facebook Live and YouTube Live.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Keith, so much. Okay, we have a lot more news coming up in the next half hour. About 200 candidates for the legislature are still waiting for money for their campaigns, but now they might be getting it. We'll have word from Augusta on how that's happening. Plus, the dreaded words of summer have arrived: back to school. And one Maine company has made it its mission to ensure children have what they need to go back to school.
Those stories and more coming up on News Center Maine at 5:30. We'll be right back with Braindrops. So, my question for Keith, why measure that temperature change in Celsius?
Oh, because that's what science does. Like, no.
Because it's like what the rest of the world does.
Yeah, like we're the only ones who use Fahrenheit, so it's always Celsius. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
metric
There was a
system.
brief push to try to get America on metric, and it died out. And it was like a cost thing, because like updating all the signs, and it was just going to be really expensive.
There's a podcast called 99% Invisible that did a whole thing on that, like the history of why we're like the only ones that don't follow the metric system.
It's very American, if you think about it. The bummer about it is metric system makes more sense. Like, if you think about it, 0 is freezing.
Right.
Okay, and 100 is boiling. Like, ours is random.
Right.
Like 32, and like, it just, and
10K
even miles.
sounds longer than 6
right,
miles.
Yeah. Yeah, 1,000 meters is a kilometer.
Yeah.
Whereas we're like, how about 5,283?
Meanwhile,
feet,
I'm here thinking, okay, 3 feet are in a yard, and I have the visual from 5th grade of 3 feet jumping into a backyard.
And 3 feet is also a good estimation for a meter, give or take.
Right.
But it's annoying that we even have to do that. So to your point, yes, 3 degrees Celsius is much more in Fahrenheit, but that's just not how we really measure.
And that's +3 since when? I'm sorry.
That's compared to its average temperature this time of the year, accumulated since the early 1900s to now.
Gotcha.
So say it would normally be whatever
63.
Yeah. And it's 69 now or something. That's what that is. And oceans react more slowly to temperature changes than landmass, right? In order to get big temperature anomalies, it needs to be warmer than average for sustained periods of time to push that ocean to.
So that's significant.
It is. It's a big deal. Yeah.
Okay. You want to do the pulse, or you want me to?
Yes, I can.
You can do it since you know it.
Sure.
So yeah, they're working to put it in context. And my guess is, since they're working on it as a project, that it's going to be like a big top 3, maybe number 1. As far as warmest anomalies we've had.
What's a 3 degrees Celsius? How many Fahrenheit? I don't know the equation off the top of my head. It's like times 5/9 minus.
That's I think
minus 30 plus 32.
So it's like 32
it's a
would
big,
be that.
Yeah. But I will convert it.
All right, big thanks to everyone who's voting in our Pulse poll tonight, asking if you really take those reviews you read online into account before you try out a new business, whether it's for food or fitness. Let's take a look real quick. Again, 67% yes, for sure.
Cool. All right, Keith, what do we got for Braindrops today?
All right, I want to share with you a newspaper article from New Zealand from 1912, which seems really random, and it is, but it has a point. This is from 1912 in New Zealand, and the Science Notes and News, and the story is about climate change. It's furnaces of the world are now burning. all these tons of coal a year, which puts 7 billion tons of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. This tends to make the air more effectively a blanket for the Earth and raise the Earth's temperature. The effect may be considerable in a few centuries. They shorted us on that. It's already happening. I think it's interesting, though, people talk about this sometimes if it's a new concept. It's been known really since the late 1800s, heavily researched since the 1960s. By the way, this is a link of the same paragraph actually in context from Popular Mechanics, because the internet likes to call everything fake. So this really did happen in 1912 that they
your research for real.
this. But yeah, and again, I think, you know, we talk about how politicized climate change has become, and it wasn't for so long, and it's something we've been studying for a very, very long time. And if anything, like I said, they said several centuries. Unfortunately, less than that. Less than that, it turns out.
If you were a restaurant, you would have had a blinking sign that says "Welcome Trolls" right here.
Yelp reviews. Yeah.
Speaking of time ticking, News on a Main at 5:30 starts now. All right, guys. Thank you for voting. Thanks for your conversation. We'll see you right back here tomorrow, and tomorrow is Friday. Bye, guys.